Hello and welcome to George Andrews Reserve. Thunderstruck is being blared over the PA system because Dandenong Thunder have made their way onto their home turf here tonight to take on the Oakleigh Cannons in the major semi-final in the Victorian Premier League. The prize this evening is a spot in the VPL Grand Final in a couple of weeks' time. Welcome to the broadcast. Mark Van Aken with you. This is the big one. The Cannons winning their way through with a 2-0 win over Green Gully last week. It was gritty. They grounded out and eventually they took control of the contest and got the good of Ian Dobson's crew, 2-0. The Thunder, of course, had the week off. They are the minor premiers and they are looking to rampage their way through to the Grand Final as they've rampaged their way through much of the 2012 VPL season, of course, taking out the Knockout Cup. Peter Zoyce, one of the co-skippers, or the co-coaches, in fact, of Oakleigh, just in front of our commentary position here tonight. We'll take you through the starting lineups. First, the visitors, Oakleigh. Number 1, Lewis Italiano. Number 2, James Cumming. Number 5, Casper Anderson. Number 10, Ricky Diaco getting a start this week. Number 12, Luke Walker. Number 13, Evan Christodoulou. Number 15, James Mitchinson. Number 17, Rasmus Festerson, who popped up with a goal last week. Number 20, Ari Drakos. Number 21, Hayden Doyle. Number 26, Lambros Honos. And on the bench tonight for the Cannons, Ramazan Tavsen-Choglu. Number 6, number 11, Jesse Krenchevic. Number 16, Frankie Lagana. Number 19, Gorzovic. And number 35, Daniel Nisham. And for the Thunder, number 1, Stuart Webster. Number 3, Andrew Mullet. Number 5, Brian Brand. Number 7, Liam Kearney. Number 8, Matthew Theodore. Number 11, Iqbal Jawadi. Number 12, Shepton Marla. Number 13, Shane Reshepi. Number 14, Craig Elvin. Number 19, Nathan Foster. And number 20, Luke Sherwin. And on the bench for the Dandenong Thunder, number 6, Ross Thompson. Number 9, Veton Kuchari, I should say. Number 4, Brendan Almazovsky. And number 22, Sean McElroy. Chris Taylor, the coach of the Thunder. We're not too far away from kickoff. The facts as they stand: the winner advances to the Grand Final at AAMI Park on the 14th of October. We'll talk about that a little bit later, what effect that will have on Dandenong should they get through tonight. They've, of course, had a week off coming into this game. They would then earn a fortnight's break, and that would be a positive for any players carrying niggling injuries. But, of course, that would also mean the team would go into the big dance, having played only one game in the last 4 weeks of competition. Speaking of the last week of competition, of course, as we mentioned, the Cannons, 2-0 victors last week over Green Gully. Round 22 was the last time we saw the famous red and black stripes. And that was a 1-1 draw right here at this venue against the Richmond Eagles for the Dandenong Thunder. These two finished 1 and 2 on the ladder, and as we kick off, it is 1v2. Drakos, a first touch for the Cannons. Look for Diaco, but sent straight back down the way of Lewis Italiano. James Cumming, one of the defensive generals, went short for Hayden Doyle, had to be quick with it. Mitchinson, did plenty of work last week for the Cannons down that right flank. That one sent flying. This one goes to Doyle. Clears it. Looking for Diaco, but Brand nods it down. A little shove in the back, and now it's Drakos on the ball. Out wide again for Mitchinson. Italiano, who had a clean sheet last week, but had the odd uncertain moment in goal. Of course, with Peter Zoyce as his senior coach, got a guy who knows a thing or two about goalkeeping. Mullet brings it in for Sherwin. Sherwin spreads it. Some heavy rainfall in Melbourne this afternoon, and the pitch, it must be said before the match, pretty good, but just a few patches of heavy water. Ball floats in for the Thunder. There was a hit on there by Kearney. This one will come the way of the Cannons, but there are some patches, as mentioned, just right in the middle of the park and just down the flanks here, where there's a little bit of underlying water. No doubt that would have been on the mind of the coaches before the game. Route 1 won't necessarily be the way to go, particularly if you're attacking to the right of our screen this evening. If you are joining us on the web right around the world, might be the springtime in Melbourne, but it's pretty wet and woolly conditions here tonight in Melbourne. Be pushing single digit as Diaco has interplay with Honos. Now Diaco sends it back. Will only get as far as Craig Alvin. And now Brand looks up. Goes down the line. He was looking for Foster. Foster will eventually get it here. Good give and go. Theodore. Matthew Theodore goes wide. Drakos tries to intercept. He can't. Inside for Foster. Turns. And sent packing pretty quickly there by James Cumming. Another chance now for the Thunder. Floats in. There's some numbers there, and a nervous few moments just floated over the head of the Oakleigh defence there. It will come up to the blue and white's favour. So after a beautiful spring weekend, last weekend of VPL action, it is back to winter conditions out here. As displayed from the gloves there on Matthew Theodore. Turnover now for the Cannons through Honos. Out wide, Mitchinson is dispossessed. Marler, he was looking for Foster. Couldn't quite get there. Some fancy footwork from Sherwin. Down the line, looking to unlock Marler. Marler will come side. Fans thought there was a little bit of pulling of the shirt. It was fairly innocuous. Good crowd, especially on the far side of the ground, packed into the grandstand here at George Andrews Reserve as Elvin just floats one long, bit aimless. So the throw to come back now for the Cannons. Half chance here for Festerson. And there are the chances he thrives on. There's the water we were talking about. Players are just going to be wise to that. Good first touch inside. It was clever from Sherman. There was no one at home for Dandy. And again, that's going to hit that dead spot. I think it's going to be the first or last time I'm going to be saying that this evening. Walker. Out Drakos. Down the line, just had too much on it for Christodoulou. Elect for the quick throw to the Thunder. Down the line, looking for Foster. And that one's going to be too long. So, a rare chance for Oakleigh to get inside the Dandenong Thunder's final third. Elaborating on the conditions, it's a decent old wind, favours left of screen, the end that Dandenong are attacking here in the first half. Definitely an advantage. Now what have we got here? Offside before the throw in, so not super well organised there. The Oakleigh attack. We talk about Dandenong being a rampaging side throughout 2012 campaign. They come in without a loss in their last 5. 3 wins and a pair of draws. As reserve, it was 1-1 And just a month or so ago in round 20, these two played at a 0-0 draw. We'll be hoping for some goals tonight. They've got some firepower, these two teams, but if the first pair of encounters between them earlier this year is anything to go by, we may well be looking at extra time. A late Friday night for all. AFL Grand Final Eve here in Melbourne. NRL Grand Final Eve. This one goes long. Sent through by Sherman. He wanted Foster. Cuts quite a figure. Nathan Foster up front. Number 19 for the Thunder. Scored 11 goals. Equal second in the league. And the man who just sent that down for him there, Luke Sherman, leads the league. The Golden Boot winner on 17. Go wide is the call from Peter Zoyce. And ignored by Mitchinson there. Or maybe he thought the gaffer wanted him to go to the other flank. Tackle coming in there from Shepta Marla. A little bit industrial. Drakos picks himself up in even time. It's going to be Casper Anderson to take the kick. Doyle back over to Anderson. Anderson goes very long. Brand's there. In fact, that was Mullet for the Thunder. Mullet again. Good touch on, just clever by the Thunder there. And it's Walker eventually who intercepts the good work of Iqbal Jawari. Doyle just seems to be a little bit more placed. Let's reconstruct this sentence. Seems to be placed a little bit more defensively tonight. Probably a nod to the offensive threat of Sherman, Foster and co. Saw Ricky Diaco get a touch. No slouch in front of goal. Equal fourth in the comp. Sitting on 10 goals so far in season 2012. Came off the bench last week against Gully. And caused no end of pain to the Gully defence for the final 15-20 minutes of that game. He's earned himself a start tonight. Thunder just kind of hit the back of Brand there, just took a clip. Away, it'll be a goal kick for Italiano. Peter Zoyce barking out the instructions to Lewis Italiano. That one's short, only gets as far as Sherman. Now a chance for the Thunder, right across the face of goal. It was Shepton Marla who sent it through. And alarm bells momentarily ringing for the Cannons. Just over 10 minutes played here at George Andrews Reserve. Dandenong 0, Oakleigh 0. It's Dandenong who have looked the more menacing so far, but no real gilt-edged chances of goal. As Craig Alvin looks to mop this one up. He's got Diaco right behind him. He had to be quick. Some Dandenong fans winning the free kick, but Diaco winning plenty of the ball there. In fact, completely winning the ball. And hence, no whistle. Craig Alvin, accomplished player at this level, as is Ricky Diaco. Good battle there. And Stuart Webster will take his first goal kick of the evening. Webster, he wanted Sherman, only gets his opponent Walker. Excellent tackle there from Jawadi. Wins it back. Now Sherman. Looks for Foster. Still Foster. Could have gone down. Kept going. Italiano very close to the edge of the 18-yard box. And now Anderson just gets it out of harm's way. Alvin will go back to Webster. Down again. No whistle. Yes, it does come eventually. Sherman and then Anderson. And I'm just not quite sure if that was just incidental contact there from Casper Anderson. You would think it would be, since he's trailing backwards and ended up on his backside himself. Either way, the Dandenong faithful think the kick should be going their way. Won't be, but Luke Sherburn back to his feet. And you can just see already in the opening quarter hour what a threat Foster is up front. Lightning quick. Can turn this Oakleigh defence, and you dare say he be a chief reason that we're seeing Hayden Doyle a little bit lower up the ground today. You just wonder what effect that will have, considering how important he is to their attacking forays through the middle of the ground, as we see maybe some kind of blood rule. We do. We have some blood on the knee here of, I think it's Luke Walker. And Oakleigh just need to play on here, and they're taking their time to do it. James Cumming, testing the patience of the referee. Cumming goes long. Diaco's there. So's about 5 Dandenong players. Will he get another chance? No. This one will run for Hutchinson. Bit of a nothing kick back forward. Now controlled by Theodore. And he just missed. Just missed out on hitting Foster through the middle there. You don't envy James Cummings' task tonight of tracking that man. Tiliano sends it down for Anderson. Another whistle going the way of the Cannons. As Luke Walker back on the ground after having the blood on his knee tended to. The ground looks to have recovered quite well from the rain in almost all parts, except for the part where it's pooled in the middle. Looks like it might be a drainage line through the middle there that just hasn't quite done its job. This one comes in for Oakleigh. Walker's there. Oakleigh will mop it up. Mitchinson. Come all the way back to Cumming. So they've had to retreat the whole way. Foster is closing down. That was a back pass. So Italiano just had to send it out of there. He could sense the looming danger. Mullet will bring it back in. Down the line for Sherburn. Being tracked by 2 defenders. Just took a touch, so it'll be another throw in for the Thunder. Will Mullet go long? Sherburn. 3 defenders on him there. It was going to be a tough task, no doubt. Ball just deceiving Brown, the bounce there. Sent out by Cumming, another chance now for the Thunder. It was Theodore. Theodore again. Top of that in yard box, and it just didn't fall for him. If it did, he was only a second away from blasting. And that one just sent to the right. And obviously looked a little closer on the far side of the ground than it did from our angle. Sherburn just sent that one a good 2 metres to the right of the Oakleigh goal. Or in fact, the Dandenong goal. The goal, of course, that the Cannons will be defending for dear life in this opening 45 minutes. And we've just gone past the quarter hour. It's Dandenong 0, Oakleigh 0. Got the same scoreline we had after 90 minutes. Back here in round 20. Another one there by Kearney. Ball will come through. Kearney. Natives getting a little restless. Dandenong fans. All over him, ref is the call, and it's number 20. Luke Sherburn that they speak of. He is certainly... Throw to come from right on halfway. Anderson. In the middle of the park. Clash of bodies. Play on's the call. Turnover. Dandenong another chance. They've got numbers in there. It was Luke Walker who sent it out for the corner. First corner of the contest going the way of the Dandenong Thunder. As mentioned, they are favoured by a decent old breeze down that end. And they've certainly had the lion's share of possession in terms of field position so far. Just lurking is Sherburn and Brown at the back. It'll be Brett flies. Couldn't quite get there. Didn't quite time it right. You figure if he did, it'd be bad news for the Cannons. They'll have another chance now. Oakleigh coaching staff pleading with their players to get back and defend. This will be Mitchinson. And the flag goes up for offside. City, Gully, the losers last weekend. Northcote City, the winners. Seeing off the Bentley Greens in the first week were Northcote City. And Gully live to fight another day at home on Sunday. If you caught the game on VPL Live, it was a game that certainly for the first hour or so, Gully probably just had the better of it, but they just couldn't find a way into the back of the net. I'll need to do that on Sunday. Walker got a touch on. It nearly landed in Foster's lap, which would be disastrous. Now Doyle. A chance to attack. Got Diaco on his right, and he tried to get it out wide to Festerson. Bridge too far. Bridge being appropriate given the water in the middle of the pitch. Defence him to attack. Out in that right flank through a Sheppy. Down the line to Theodore. Still Theodore. When will it come in the box? It will come now, but that one is too long and far too wide. Fourth official sending the extra ball onto the park for us. Fully welcoming the chance to get amongst the action on a cold night here in Melbourne. Italiano floats it to halfway. Brand sends it right back his direction. Coach Zoyce asking Italiano to look for the players on short, to not simply go for the long ball or the long goal kick each time. This will be Mitchinson. Got a few seconds to compose himself. Goes back into Doyle. There's a man on there through Alvin. Now Honos into the area. Looks for Diaco, who'll fire. But it's well wide and well over the top. And you just saw again the ball holding itself up there in the 18-yard box. So obviously a bit of water down there as well. So you feel on top of this decent old headwind that they're running into, the Cannons, they're obviously going to have some problems too with the ball running along there. So I predict fearlessly that the goal scoring end, if we do see goals tonight, will be to the left of screen. As soon as I say that, we'll probably cop 3 or 4 at the other end. Walker. Honos enjoys working on the ball, does Honos, and there's cops. Just has his heels clipped there by Brian Brand. Brand protests, but kick was there. Diaco thought about taking the kick, but probably a little bit too far out to cause Stuart Webster any real problems. So it's going to now be Doyle that eventually resides over the free kick. Anderson retreats to the 18-yard box. Comes in over the top. It was Kearney there for Dandenong. They'll come out through Jawadi. Look for Sherburn. Sherburn went for a tumble. Looking for Festerson out wide. Good head on. Elvin gets there. Throw in now again for Mitchinson. James coming down the line. Offloaded by Diablo Honos. Honos just wanted to square it up, but Brand was there. And again, players can take nothing for granted tonight. They're just pulling up. The ball ain't. Instruction as a junior is play to the whistle. Well, tonight it's not just play to the whistle, but play till the ball is out. Although this one, of course, did get there for the first Oakleigh corner through Honos. Well, they go short to Doyle. Doyle's lurking just in front of our position here. It goes long. And the head, the back of the head there from Evan Christodoulou. Again, just didn't quite time it, but he certainly got some air. And if he got there a split second later, he may well have been able to guide that one a little bit better. As it was, it went well wide of Stuart Webster's goal. .25 minutes gone. We're scoreless here at George Andrews Reserve. Good old push and shove there from Hayden Doyle. Referee said play on. Almost got there for Foster. Again, just ran too long. And James Mitchinson is happy enough to see that go over the line for another Lewis Italiano goal kick. Ref wants him to take that one again, and he won't get the same opportunity twice because Foster is now covering Anderson. So it'll be to the chagrin of Peter Zoyce, I might add. One sent long and going into the wind. That's where there's definitely going to be an advantage to the Cannons, I guess, in the second half if the wind stays as is. Because Italiano is sending that right into a stiff old breeze. Diaco down the line. Went back inside, but there was nothing there but Dandenong shirts. Walker now, straight into the pool. Doyle down the line again. Nothing there but Craig Alvin and Stuart Webster. So a couple of little half chances so far. The lion's share going the way of the Thunder. Nothing gilt-edged. No one-on-ones. And despite having, in fact, dare I say, a little bit like Oakleigh game against Gully last week, where Oakleigh probably had the upper hand, but little to show for it. In fact, zero to show for it. You'd say the same so far for the Thunder. They have been almost dominant. You see the wind just holding that up again. Alvin, despite some sizable height disadvantage, went in the air to take on Luke Walker, and he won. Throw here for Mott. Sherburn just doubles back, but doesn't want to send it there. Now it's going to be down for Theodore. Went inside. Couldn't do much with it. Alvin has the vision to go out to the left flank, looking for Kearney. Kearney just spilt the ball. Good opportunity. If he had got onto that, to send it back inside, where he would have found Foster in a one-on-one with James Cumming. It's mere speculation at this point. Festerson. Mullet long, Sherburn. Wanted to bring it down for Kearney. Couldn't quite do it. Festerson now. Diaco. Honos. Just took an extra second too long there. Sherbin down the line looking for Foster. Foster V coming. Little bit of body contact for the league's top, in fact the league's equal second goal scorer, Nathan Foster. Referee says it was a little bit of a touch too much. Oakleigh fans asking the ref to call it both ways. Correct myself, it's the Dandy players. Makes a bit more sense since the kick did go Oakleigh's way. Diaco looks to hold on and he lost it, and well, he was up against Matthew Theodore there. And he actually put his arm out the wrong way there, the ref, so he made a little blue, puts his hand up to the grandstand, said, yes guys, my mistake. Which we like to see. And as punters, there's been a wrong. It's been righted immediately. So Dandenong through Bran. Down, Foster. Thought fall for him, it won't. Coming. Festerson. Honos. Back to Doyle. Doyle wanted to unlock Festerson down that right flank, but there was defence there. Doyle again. Decent old shove in the back of Matty Theodore. And Theodore, who's been very good in the opening half hour here. Alvin takes the kick. Sherbin almost fell for Kearney. Oakleigh now. Diaco will want to get it out wide here for Festerson, you expect. He'll just draw to the fence. Had the right plan, just held on a little bit too long. Foster v. Mitchinson. Mitchinson wins. And we'll go straight down the line. Will, Diaco's there, as is Alvin. Foot race now. Alvin wins and then just collected by Diaco on the way through. And Diaco just sending the ball down the line, and not a heck of a lot in that, but certainly unnecessary from the big fella. Past the halfway mark down here in Dandenong. Thunder 0, Oakleigh 0. Pardon me, nose is running tonight in these wintry conditions. Drakos goes down, but the only blue Darko, and he was being minded by Brand and Craig Alvin. Now Mitchinson went down the line. I think he was looking for Festerson down the right flank, but this shows what the wind's doing at the moment, because it ended up down Route 1 with Ricky Diaco. Advantage going Oakleigh's way. Coach Taylor got his arms spread out wide, asking what was that for. Walker wins it back, then loses it again. And they're just adjusting to that particularly wet patch in the middle of the park. This is going down the line looking for Theodore. Anderson's there, goes back for Italiano, and Italiano, this one will not even make the touch line. Clever touch in the end by Festerson. Mitchinson into the middle of the park. Almost had Sherbin as the man on there, dispossessing. And Oakleigh again, just looking to build up. This time down the left flank. Walker. What can Doyle do here? He's smart, he just chips it over the wet patch. Festerson now will look to get to the byline. And some good defence coming in from Andrew Mullet. Puts it out for a corner, so another opportunity for the Cannons. If they strike here, it'll be a big blow for the Thunder. Not just on the scoreboard, but spiritually. Honos Only made it as near as the near post. Doyle, again through the wet. Look to fire from the top. Foster takes off. He made the run. He's expecting the ball to come through the middle. And he's looking back at his teammates. But to be fair there, Nathan, your teammate had the right idea with the pass, but it was again through that wet patch. You would think that the Thunder would obviously have the advantage of knowing this ground, and they've played throughout a particularly wet winter here in Melbourne, so they'd probably be a little bit more aplomb with the conditions. Although, oh, just a nasty little clip at the back of the heels there from Luke Walker. Brown looks to go left, looking for Kearney. Pint-sized winger. One touch, and the second touch was bailed out there in the end by James Mitchinson. And they'll leave the corner. Quite happy to soak up some time and leave it to Shippy to take the corner. In the end, takes a short one. Kearney. Brown's there at the back. He'll fly, but Italiano is also there. Takes it. Easy catch. And I'll tell you what, he was a good half metre outside the box from my position. Lou Italiano, want to watch that one? A few little Bronx cheers from the grandstand on that one. And no need to panic, says Andrew Mullet. Webster. Jawadi. Mullet all the way back to Webster. They might try the right-hand side of the park from their vantage point now. Alvin. He's got Diaco bearing down. Goes long. Looking for Foster. Peterson will get there first. Anderson, I should say. Did get there first. Did big Casper Anderson. You can certainly see the looming threat, though, from Foster. And it's probably lucky for Oakleigh so far that the pitch is the way it is, because some of those through balls might have been weighted a little bit better. And he just turns on a dime. Says Nathan Foster. That said, I'm sure Ricky Darko would tell me that's not all beer and skittles up his end of the park either, and he'll certainly be the recipient of some more favourable conditions come the second half. There's the speed of Foster again on display. Keeps it in, but Anderson's there, and he slides in Foster. And it's gone the way of the Thunder there, so Anderson just not quite getting it out of harm's way. Will we get a long throw? We won't. Comes in short. Sherburn didn't quite get the touch he wanted there. Honos. Now prone to having a run with it there is Honos, but he realised where he was, and that his task was to get the ball out of there as quickly as possible. Doyle had good vision to find Festerson, just in front of our commentary position. Slight touch. All it takes, of course, to knock you off your feet. It's Andrew Mullet giving away the free kick there, to be taken by Cumming. Now Mitchinson. It's 7 or 8 minutes away from half time here. As Festerson again tries to get to the byline, and again it's Andrew Mullet that blocks it off. He'll leave the throw here for Mitchinson. Dandenong's chance. Theodore had Hayden Doyle closely checking him. Now Walker sends it through for Diaco. He's foiled by Brand. Drakos looks up, sees Diaco, set him a task, and in the process of connecting with that ball, Diaco has collected Brian Brand. And Brand ain't looking too flash on the deck, right in the middle of George Andrews' reserve. Not to be confused with Jack Edwards' reserve. Also down here in the southeast of Melbourne, home of course of the Oakleigh Cannons. The Cannons looking tonight as Brian Brand gets a bit of a clap as he gets to his feet. Cannons of course looking for their second consecutive grand final. They're a side that has been stacked with talent plenty of times over the last decade, but have just failed to fire in September under coach Arthur Pappas. They went a long way to dispelling those issues last year. Of course also getting through, if I'm not mistaken, to the final of the Mirabella Cup. I could be mistaken on that. So one thing I can tell you with certainty is that the Dandenong Thunder lifted that state cup this year. They also lifted the minor premiership, which of course carries a bit more weight in our game than some of the other games played here in Victoria. Corner now for the Thunder. Brand's at the back. Going to say every time there's been a corner tonight, Brian Brand has positioned himself pretty well to get on the end. Mullet will look for Brand again. Honos. Drakos wasn't quite expecting it. Had to be quick on his feet. Then went long, looking to get a sneaky one down the barrel of Erasmus Festerson. Drakos. There's a man on here for Oakleigh. They're going to have to be quick. Luke Walker. He's punished. Theodore. Again, that last touch was just too long. He's still got a chance though. Inside for the Dandenong Thunder. They're calling for a penalty. Liam Kearney was the man charging through the middle of the park, and they wanted at least a free kick a little bit earlier to Dandenong Thunder. They've got a player down. I suspect it might be Matthew Theodore. Either way, nothing doing. So it all started with a diagonal ball across the park. And then Matthew Theodore at pace, just going route one right for the middle as the ref says, let's bring on some medical attention. He went through. Right now it's Iqbal Jawadi pleading with the ref to understand why the whistle wasn't blown a little bit earlier. From a gilt-edged goal-scoring chance, you must say that it was actually to Dandenong's advantage that the play was allowed to go on, because it was Kearney just bolting through the middle, and he had a chance to put Dandenong a goal to good. So we're into the 42nd minute. You dare say we'll see at least 3 minutes of added time. There's been the odd injury and a blood rule earlier on to Luke Walker. And just trying to walk this one off is Matthew Theodore. Looks like he's grabbing maybe around the abductor or the quad region. Chris Taylor, I think, will take a little bit of time to work out exactly whether it's an injury that's going to keep him off permanently. He's pretty ginger coming off him, Matthew Theodore, and it must be said this would be a blow for the Dandenong Thunder, because he has been a spark plug, and he's getting the sub. Yeah, both the medico and Matthew Theodore saying he's done. So Chris Taylor, in turn, will walk his way over to the bench. On his bench, he does have Ross Thompson, Viton Kuchari, Brendan Almazowski, and then Sean McElroy as well. Dare say to be one of the first couple that will get the nod here. In fact, it is going to be Ross Thompson that gets substituted here for Matthew Theodore. So That is a blow, I would have to say, for the Thunder. State the obvious. They've had to use a sub that they probably wouldn't have wanted to use anywhere near this early. To again state the obvious. We're just around the 44th minute, so a minute or so of regular time. We dare say we'll see at least 3 or 4 minutes of added time here in the first half. Ross Thompson will come on. Still a chance here with the Thunder with the corner. It's straight in the arms of Italiano, who takes that one with authority. Mentioned last week, had the clean sheet, but in the second half had a few nervous moments, a few little double grabs, a couple of parries straight into traffic. But that one was taken with all the confidence in the world. One back there by Marlett. Looking long, looking for Foster. If Anderson hadn't have got there then, Thompson would have been off to the races. Dandenong don't like that decision at all. And Thompson start again. Nathan Foster is in absolute disbelief, and just trying to work out what we've got here. Ref just having a chat to, I think, Shane Rashipi, saying, calm the boys down, please. And it's going to be, is it a drop ball? It's a drop ball, folks. That's what we're going to see right here. Sherbin sends this one with plenty of power. It's across the front. It'll end up being a goal kick, and to be fair, given the, I guess, the lion's share of possession so far for the Dandenong Thunder, haven't seen that much of Luke Sherbin, particularly in the last 15-20 minutes or so, but we know he's a player. He doesn't need too many touches to score. That one coming up close to our commentary position. The quick throw from Mullet. Diaco. He's got Festerson down the right. He elects to go back inside, look for some cavalry. He finds it through Doyle, who'll go over the other side to Drakos. Drakos saw Marla bearing down. Again, he's gone long. Just playing your feel into the hands of Dandenong Thunder. There is Sherbin with a head on. Italiano will see that one out. Up onto the roof of the grandstand. Onos, the nice little nudge on the side. Dandenong again. Send this down the byline, and almost in the back of the net there through, I suspect, Nathan Foster. The threat of Foster was imminent. Oakleigh knew it. They saw it out for another Dandenong corner. Brand is lurking. Cooney, the little fella. It probably dipped a little bit early for him to get any decent purchase on it. And one more time, folks, it was the big number 5, Brian Brandt. He's a defender, but he's someone that you have to keep your eye on at those corners. Nearly got there again. It's his teammate Kearney, in fact, that got closer. Anderson sent it for Drakos. We're into stoppage time. And starting to get just a little bit testy. Certainly from a fan perspective. You would think we're about a minute or two away from half time. If you joined us, it is 0-0. Oakleigh battling hard into a solid headwind. And also their half of the pitch they're attacking to at the moment. Got a few particularly waterlogged little patches. And that'll be Dandenong's job to tackle or work their way through that. So there's the halftime whistle here at Dandenong Thunder. It's Dandenong 0, Oakleigh 0. We'll be back with the second half in a few moments' time. No, I can't. But if you want to go get... You reckon FFC, it's their fucking final. Seriously. Wouldn't happen on Van Aken's watch. Is that a penalty, mate? Well, it was definitely a free kick before. I don't know if that was actually a penalty. Outside the area. Yeah, I don't know. But surely there was a free kick forward to Theodore. He doesn't have a raise point.
We're leading for the second half. It's not chilly yet.
I don't know.
Yeah, video from here, I reckon.
Back here? Yeah, I was going to say.
On reflection, you're right. That's pretty bad that no one is here.
Well, they were here at the start and they fucked off.
Who was?
There was two of them here saying, "Oh, you guys right?" We go, "Yeah," and then they just left. Because they're hiring these fucking kids.
I was in Callan and
I got no idea. I don't know anyone there. I only know what's
the guy was the other day. You asked me.
Nah, not him. Because I think he's in Sydney. He said he was going to NRL. I think I heard him say that. No, these were different guys.
Tom was saying you want to do a online magazine. How's that going?
Well, slowly but surely. Yeah. Well, we did one. We sort of launched one with the AAMI, but that.
So you never,
ITY. Yeah. Which I think content-wise was fine, but audience was wrong with AAMI. I think it wasn't broad enough. And it's good that they did that with AAMI's money because they learned a few things. Oh, I wouldn't say don't do it, but you've got to charge for it. I mean, I was trying to make it free, but because I've only just started on my iPad. I've had an iPad for 2 years. I've only just started sort of reading magazines on the iPad and downloading them. And it's hard to see on digital. I was talking to John and Tino the other day. The problem at the moment is print is dying, but it's not dead. And digital in terms of tablets is rising, but it's not. Still pretty much everyone's got a tablet.
And how was it trying to get backers for sponsors?
That was tough. And the problem is too, when you're a digital magazine, advertisers don't quite get, or hang on, are you a website or are you a magazine? So we're a magazine, so they're trying to think of you as a website, and then they go, what's a website? It's about getting tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of eyeballs. And you're missing the point. It's a magazine, so you should spend. So, because I would suspect, talking about 442, so you'll probably not get an extra cent for the ad in the digital print, the digital in. So if Fox Sports is putting that in, paying them $5,000 for a print ad, they'd just be getting it digital for free. I would suspect.
Even like some of them have multimedia elements to it. You click on it and it shows a video. I used to reckon
Yes.
that was the same.
Well, yeah. I mean, and the thing is, the dodgy way of doing it is what we do. So we just put YouTube videos in there and have our own content. Because to be fair, I don't think I've ever downloaded any sort of 442. I actually downloaded one when it was free.
Okay.
But
Tom said he gets subscription.
yeah. It's a lot of the cool shit they've got is obviously from the UK. I don't think there's too much cool stuff happening from the Aussie side. How the fuck is this? This is a disgrace to read.
This was Richard, same deal. And Veronica reckons they didn't fix it up beforehand because they knew Opie would fix it in that way, and now they're going to fix it up for the Dandy boys.
That makes sense. I was going to say because that's a massive advantage. Because Oakleigh's done well not to concede a goal, given the disadvantage of the wings and that. That was sneaky.
Yeah, apologise.
It's not exactly the super sopper, is it? Yeah. Well, that's all the super sopper, isn't it? It's just a tractor with a big chamois attached to it. You're not wrong. Is Combotianos around? bloody smells good, whatever it is. Whatever the Albanian version of a sauce is.
There's a meat tray or something.
I can't believe how far away the pub rooms are from the ground. You assume that moved over the years, or... Well, the pub rooms are 20 metres behind the pitch. Why would that be?
Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, I've got to say, despite my whinging earlier, it's actually decent stuff. We actually see the game properly. This is so much easier than when you're not behind glass, looking into the sun.
Apparently, you must know. Is there more prize money in the cup than the VPL? And now that may
Wouldn't
be the
surprise
case
me.
with
I think it was
Bell.
50k, wasn't it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Back in the day, it was 30k for the Premier League. I'm not sure if it's any more than that now.
Okay.
Makes sense to spend 200 grand on players to win a $30,000 prize. So what's the story? You got the gear, you got the bags. What's going on, mate?
These are new today. Yeah, we've got a new sponsorship deal with Leger, so
Nice.
we're going to get another 1 foot there. That's just for tonight because I was free.
That's alright.
And there's
Welcome back to George Andrews Reserve. I've got to apologise. Every time I want to say Andrews, I want to say Edwards, as in Jack Edwards Reserve. Of course, I'm the man who headed down this way last year when I was supposed to be out at Northcote City, so excuse me. That's right, getting the nod from the cameraman Johnny. Not sure, were you on that day, mate? You were, the day that Mark Duncan was heading, in fact, to George Edwards Reserve when I was supposed to be heading to Northcote City. So they don't hand these gigs out to clever people, I can tell you, folks. It is 0-0 here at half-time. Get to the serious stuff. We've had Matthew Theodore come off injured in around the 43rd minute after a heavy knock, which brought the Dandenong Thunder fans to their feet. Looks like we might have a half-time sub. We saw Oakleigh coach Peter Zoyce having a chat. To Goran Zoric, and it will be Zoric that will come on the park. So he's just copying some last-minute instructions from the gaffer. And who is it that's given way for Oakleigh? Just waiting for the fourth official to key it in. So it's Goran Zoric on. Evan Christodoulou is the player who's been sacrificed. Will give way. Last minute G up. It was Dandenong. Now we had a lot of water on the ground, as you mentioned, in the first half. The Dandenong Thunder staff were working overtime at half-time to get that surface water removed, and that will certainly be to Dandenong's advantage in the second half. If you've just joined us, it's 0-0. We've had some heavy rain in Melbourne in the last 36 hours, particularly down here in the southeast. An early shot being fired in anger from Rasmus Festerson. And there is a strong wind. You're probably getting sick of me talking about it, but it is certainly a decent headwind. So that you think would be to the advantage of Oakleigh, given they were doing much of the defending in the first half, but they got to half-time without conceding. Also a win for them with the creative Matthew Theodore coming off injured. Drakos and Marla. Seppi sends over the top for Alvin. Walker gets his head to it. Zoric. Another chance now for Kearney. Goes long. He knows Foster's got pace. He's up against Anderson, who wins the header. Drakos wins a secondary header. Doyle a little bit lax with that first touch there. This is Honos. Just double back. Drakos. Honos again. Working in traffic. He can get to the byline, and then he's collected. Wins the free kick. Protestation from Xepi, the skipper for Dandenong Thunder. And he does that quite a bit, does Lambros Honos. Very confident on ball, never really worries, no matter how many opposition players are upon him. A great ball player in every sense of the word. Diaco. The head was up. Luke Walker. He was up early. Couple of nervous moments for Stuart Webster. Eventually collects it. Will this one run? It won't. Doyle gets there. The Rockhouse under pressure. Down the line, does well to find Diaco. Diaco's Zoric on his left if he wants him. He elects to go straight in the middle. His first touch from Festerson. Maintains possession. Zoric again on the right. Diaco can go for a second clip. Doesn't get there. And cops a bit of knock, and in fact, in the end, it's a Dandy player that goes down. It is big Brian Brand, straight to his feet. It's one of those nights, folks, where you cop a knock, you're gonna stay hit because it is nasty, the weather. Icy. Webster will get us back underway. Mickey Diaco having a chat to his junior partner up front, Gordon Zoric. A little bit of sign language going on between the two. Walker, Festerson, only as far as Aktepi. Now Zoric, Aktepi goes in, commits himself fully to that one. Does the Dandenong skipper. And not too much force in that one, but certainly plenty of intent. Coach Peter Zoyce asking the ref if the tackle was maybe a little bit late. Fourth official trying to calm him down. And Diaco will float this one in. The numbers to come in to the right of screen from Oakleigh. Tall timber there with Walker and Anderson. But he went right in the middle there, Diaco, and that's the only spot in the 18-yard box where he didn't have some friendly blue shirts. Alvin happy enough to see that one out. And it's another Dandenong player who's been collected there, Andrew Mullet. Just a jarring tackle from him. Just takes a second to collect himself. This will be Mitchinson for Oakleigh. This one goes over the top. Webster tracks it back. Zoric, hopefully, trying to see the ball pull up. It doesn't. So into the 50th minute of action here in the major semi-final of the Victorian Premier League. Dandenong 0. Oakleigh Cannons 0. October 14 is the date with destiny for one of these two, or it may still, of course, be these two that play off in our grand final at AAMI Park. A post-match appetiser. More of a dessert, I guess, for those travelling to the Melbourne Heart, Wellington Phoenix Hyundai A-League game. Stick around because Victoria's decider between one of these two teams. But my two folks, as a sloppy tackle. That's probably the way I describe that one from Luke Walker. We will have 15 minutes each way at the end of the game. If we're locked at the end of 90. This is Zoric. Doyle, the 1-2. Sets Zoric a task. He was almost up for it. Just a little bit too much on it. So 15 minutes each way, and if we still don't have a decider after that, we'll of course go to penalties. But given we've got 40 odd minutes of play before that eventuality, the less spoken about that, perhaps the better. Excepi. Anderson. He's got Foster behind him. Does well. Good boys the call from Peter Zoyce. Little clip of the heels there from Luke Walker. Eventually gets the free kick. They were wondering where the whistle was, especially Iqbal Jawadi. But he does win the free kick, and nothing super Nothing super hard, but just odd little tackle creeping into the game. It's Brown who sets it up for Xepi. Ends it in. Sherburn. Is he being held on to? Doesn't matter. He goes in. Fires one low. Italiano takes it well. And we'll play it out the back through Mitchinson. Mitchinson down the line. Shumi looking for Ricky Diaco. Ricky Diaco's many things as a footballer, but speed machine's not one of them. He would have had to be to get to that one. Walker wins it back for Oakleigh. Back through the middle for Honos. Went left, went right, then was dispossessed. Drakos decides he's said enough. He's going to have a crack from 35 yards. And gets the Boo Boys of the Dandenong Thunder in his ear for his troubles. .54 minutes gone. 0-0. Here at George. As that one flies down. Festerson scored a opportunistic follow-up goal last week for the Cannons. I'm sure he'd love to score another tonight. Eight points separated these two sides on the table at the conclusion of the 22 home and away rounds in the VPL. But as we've spoken about, it's been 2 points to both sides in their meetings. As this is Doyle. Drakos goes in the line. He was looking for Zoric. He only found Giuseppe. Went long, looked for Sherburn. Did very well there to Juardi to keep his feet and keep the ball. Just trying to work in tight spaces here. Foster in that wet patch down for Sherburn. Sherburn, there's plenty of Oakleigh shirts there. It's Kearney who skipped through and then some contact. What will the referee do? Nothing doing. Lou Italiano just had the knowing finger out and a little pat on the backside of Liam Kearney. To be fair, didn't make more of it than he had to. So back to it. These two played out a 1-1 draw back in round 9 and a 0-0 draw right here at round 20. For a team that has scored goals for fun this year at the Dandenong Thunder, it must be said that Oakleigh kept them scoreless right here only a month ago. Honos fires that one. Low. Was it a shot or was he hoping to get it on the end of Zoric down that left flank? Probably the former. Either way, they do have the advantage. I'm no meteorologist, but I think the wind that was heavily favouring Dandy in the first half would die down just a touch here in the second half. Certainly got this commentator's nose running. Drakos did well to keep his feet in tough conditions there. Kearney ran through but left the ball. Festerson down the line for Diaco. Only gets Alvin. All the way back to Stuart Webster. And it'll be Stuart Webster again. In their VPL meetings to date, in the top flight of Victorian football, Dandenong have had the joy. 3 wins versus Oakleigh's 1. And they have drawn on 4 occasions, of course 2 of those coming this very season. So if history means anything, and typically in a situation like this it don't mean much, it's the Thunder who are favoured. Well-timed challenge there for Ross Thompson. A substitute just before half-time for the Thunder. As Cooney goes down to Foster. Foster in turn down the line for Mullet. Cooney wins a corner for Dandenong Thunder, and that brings this partisan home crowd to life. Brian Brand has been thereabouts at every corner so far for the Thunder. Just lurks at the top of the 18-yard box. He's got two big fellas, and Casper Anderson and Luke Walker from the Cannons tracking him. But as one of the Dandenong faithful up here pointed out to me just a moment ago, he's always trouble at those corners. Didn't get a chance to be on that occasion. It went far too short. Cooney. Been lively, particularly in this second half. There's little Liam Cooney. Look for Foster. Only got James coming. He's had the unenvious task of tracking this guy, Nathan Foster. Screws it up for Sherburn. Sherburn lays it for Thompson, who fires it straight in the waiting mitts of Lou Italiano. And if he struck it pretty much anywhere else, Dandenong might have the lead, much to the delight, you would say, of the Oakleigh faithful. That one went straight in the awaiting mitts of Louis Italiano, which Lou Italiano would tell us was just good positioning by him. And he wouldn't be far wrong. Zoric in tight spaces. Down the line for Honos. Left flank, Drakos squares it up. Elvin gets a touch on it, went the wrong way for him. He follows it up. Just ask his defence to be a little bit squarer in those situations. They go short, they look for Diaco, they find him. And then a late challenge there from Ricky Diaco. He's hurt himself and his opponent Ross Thompson in the process. And that was late from Ricky Diaco. There's a ready-made replacement for Oakleigh. Should this be something serious for Ricky Diaco? That man, of course, number 11, Jesse Krinchevich, started last week for the Cannons. Gets up, gets a few claps from his teammates. Not too many others, it must be said. Not too many, as far as I can pick up anyway, travelling Oakleigh fans. Just the quarter-hour mark in the second half has reached the hour mark in total. And you'd think that knock, as Diaco comes to the bench to seek a bit of medical treatment, will be getting the coaching staff of Oakleigh just wondering if the big skipper should take a breather. Elvin. Brand sees it out. The throw for Drakos. Brand in tight space for Sheppy, and that was just a little bit too close for comfort for Spedamala. Diaco has rejoined proceedings. Marla for Sherburn. Good build-up, Thompson. Just looked for the give and go, but had some heavy contact there with Anderson. Not getting a lot of yardage on that kick. Mallet having a good old battle there with Festerson. Doyle. We haven't seen a heck of a lot of so far in this second half, and certainly hasn't had the extra bit of zest that we usually see from the former Stoke City and Perth Glory man. And he's copped a pretty heavy knock. And I know we're playing the finals or winter competition, but I'll say again, those kind of knocks, which are just bone-jarring little close tackles, they tend to be ones that hurt just a little bit longer. Interesting again, the grand final at AAMI Park. Today, of course, is in the last few days of September, so we're still a fortnight away from the grand final. And it's what we ask at this time every year, but as we see a substitution in the offing from the Oakleigh Cannons, but just how you weigh up the breaks you get when you have the advantage of being the top seed in the competition, which the Thunder have earned well and truly throughout the season, finishing 8 points clear on top of the table. They earned a week off in the first week of the finals. They come into tonight. They win tonight. They go through to the granny. That means only one game of football in 3.5, 4 weeks. As we see Frankie Lagana come on to replace Hayden Doyle. And Doyle, as I mentioned a couple of times, not been his usual inventive self tonight, which I think is a combination of a couple of things. I think probably given a slightly more defensive role than he typically does. And maybe just not his night as well. So Frankie Lagana injected into this contest. We've gone 65 minutes and we are scoreless thus far. Some good chances for both sides, in particular Dandenong Thunder. They had a penalty shout just before half time, moments after the incident that saw Matthew Theodore heavily collected and then subsequently substituted. Not sure it was there, but it was a topic of discussion at half time, we can tell you. Here at George Andrews. Diaco back inside. Brand going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he meant that, and he's collected. And Frankie Lagana has only been on the pitch a minute, folks, but he's gone might close to testing the referee's patience there. Won't get the yellow card, but Brian Brand, as we just saw, for a big guy, just turned, did ever so well to keep control of the ball, but turned around and ran into the force of charging Frankie Lagana. Good news for the Thunder is he's to his feet. That one got to Drakos. Foster was lurking. It's a touch on for Diaco. Nearly ran for him. Asking for some width from their side, or the dual coaching staff for the Cannons. Walker. Down the line now, Festerson gets inside, Zodic just taps it on, and it'll be a goal kick. So Festerson did well there, and the pace of Zodic shining through there for the Cannons. Very nearly better. He backs it up. Zoric is there, Asepi. Happy enough to see it over. Drakos is there. Has a Sherburn. 20v20 here. Sherburn. Almost a goal game so far this season, but hasn't been anywhere near that tonight. Festerson. Coaches are calling for width. He does that here. Will Diaco get there in time? The linesman is right in front of him, or the assistant referee worked his butt off to get there to Diaco. And now Nathan Foster. Wrong sport there. I'm talking about Nathan Brown. Change coming. Control the tempo is the word. from co-coach Peter Zoyce. That one almost coming back inside for Marla. Marla does well to square it up. And just as I said, Sherburn hasn't had too many chances to score tonight. He nearly nails one. Gets the head on, just turned the body, flicked it around. Very nearly a golden moment in the VPL final series there for Dandenong Thunder. .69 minutes played. Thunder nil, Oakleigh nil. Man on there with Festerson. Kearney had to get rid of it, and he did well to follow it up. At least win a few extra yards before Oakleigh gained possession. Wheeling back was Mullet. Oakleigh down. Excepi only gets it as far as Drakos. Little heel on the inside for Zoric. Does well to win it. He's got some space now. But in the end he runs into the big Brian Brand wall. Shoves him off it. Very creative player is Zoric. Needed to be a little bit more creative on that occasion. And that one runs long for the second time in a matter of moments for Marla. Part of the game, when we pass the 70-minute mark, the fatigue sets in. Walker. Honos. Got Zoric on. Looks to link with him. Brand's there again. Been rock solid tonight for the Thunder. Honos. The 1-2 with Zoric. Wins it back. Just took a little too long. But Walker's still there in the middle of the park for the Cannons. He elects to spread it wide for Mitchinson. That was Festerson. And you reckon whether, no matter which way it goes, a goal here will spring this one into life. That's Oakleigh, who is slowly starting to gain a little bit of ascendancy. But Nathan Foster just lost it on that last touch there. Resepi. A little bit too cute there. Zoric was wise to it. Now forced to throw in attacking third for the Cannons. Hugs the boundary line. It's Sherburn. I could just about catch that ball. Sherburn reckons he's owed a free kick there. Artie Drakos is hesitant to throw it in while Sherburn is still getting to his feet. Good to go now. Big Casper Anderson. Walk up. Honos will have Craig Alvin nipping at his toes. Alvin happy to give away a knowing free kick. Just a little bit too far out to cause the Thunder too many worries, but you suspect on a night like this, where goal scoring chances have been few and far between, Artie Drakos, well, you suspect he'll float this one in. If it was a little bit closer, he might be tempted to go for glory. He's got Walker, Frankie Lagana. Now Anderson also making his way into the 18-yard box. Goes in. It's on target. Needed to be a metre or two, or probably a metre or 5, in fact. A little bit further away from the goal to give his teammates a chance to meet the ball and stick it in the back of Stewie Webster's net. Diaco, can he run onto it? Elvin got there. Joady. Foster. What a battle it's been tonight between Nathan Foster and James Cumming. So far it's been Cumming. He's kept his opponent scoreless. Hit the net on 11 occasions throughout season 2012. There's Nathan Foster. And Luke Sherburn. Well, he's done it 17 times. 28 goals between two players. They sit 1 and 2 in the league. They have been potent right throughout season 2012. Walker for Diaco. He's there by himself. He's going to want to use Zorich. Tried to curl it around the defence of Exepi, but there's always going to be a tough ask. It's probably the only option for Diaco too. There's too many other blue shirts in front of him. Might have elected to hold it up and wait for the cavalry to arrive. When you've got a speed demon down the flank like Zorich, I guess you can be excused for trying to exploit him. Speaking of speed demons, here's Foster. Sherburn. Sherburn not happy. Wanted the ball to run a little bit smoother for him there. Brian Brand. Battling with Diaco, Exepi down the line. Wants to get the byline. Zorich tracks him the whole way. Sherburn will turn inside. Cooney's there. Has it gone out? It has not. So still a chance for Sherburn. Turns again. Decides to retreat for Marler. And he's flicked it right over. And that'll actually be a throw in. And we can focus on Sherburn and Foster if we like. But Liam Cooney was looming large there for the Thunder. He scored 7 goals himself in season 2012. So it's definitely a clear and present threat. And I'm not sure what's happened here. The throw needs to come on the far side from Mitchinson. James Mitchinson bringing it back in. 75 minutes played. We're locked at 0-0. Brand. Anderson was having a good old hold of Sherburne's jersey there. Drakos. Long and direct from the Cannons. Not sure that would be pleasing to co-coaching staff for the Cannons. 15 minutes of regular time to find a goal and a winner. If we don't, it's on to extra time. 15 minutes each way. Kearney across for Marler. Marler does well. Gives it to his skipper, Exepi. Sends it in. Italiano should gobble it up. He does. And they're off quickly. Looking for Festerson, but just needed to have a little bit more control on that one. Italiano. Alvin. You fancy wanted to see that one over the line. It was nowhere near it. Diaco. Set another task. Apologies for the sniffles, folks. It's one of those nights. Exepi. Brand cleans up for his captain. Got. I'm going to send this one flying. Sherburn, who was well held on that occasion by Drakos. Thompson was alerted to the looming threat of Diaka behind him. Quickly punched it on. Kearney sends that one over onto the junior fields. The rear of the grandstand there. Cummings got to be quick. He is, but doesn't quite gain the yardage you would have liked. It's Lagana who's turned it over, and now another chance for Jawadi. Beats one, then lays it off. That's now the Thunder looking to use the width down the left. Jawadi again. Wins the throw. Eventually, he's happy to let Andrew Mullett bring it back into play. Dandenong got some numbers at the back if they wish to go forward again. Oakleigh looked for Sherburn. It's just a little too long. Calls of handball. James Mitchison can now walk this out for Oakleigh should he choose to. Diarco off balance and cop the tackle. That's a double whammy that sees him go flying. "80 minutes played. Will we see a goal in regulation time? Or are we going to go for an extra half hour of VPL Finals football? No golden goal. We'll play the full 30. Fan of the silver goal myself, not necessarily the golden. Probably doesn't give the right opportunity, but the silver goal, if you've got yourself a goal up, and Honost nearly had a chance to at least have a crack for Oakleigh. But if you're a goal up at the half-time break in extra time, it's just about good enough for me to give you the win. That said, you look at games like tonight where there's a distinct advantage with the wind and also the state of the pitch on one side to the other, and people could quite easily convince me that maybe we should go both ways. We may not have to. Zoric did well to bring it back inside, and then a tackle where he's well off getting the ball. Mixepi down the line. Drakos stuck out the right leg to foil him. And there's some tired lads out there now, I can tell you that much. Marla. He's looking for someone to run for him. This is long. Look for Sherburn again. Again, it's the only defence that are wearing him like a glove. Brand. Honos picks his pocket, but can't keep his feet to pick up the crumbs. Mixepi, who's been forced to do a lot of work down the right side of the defence in this second half, finds Foster. Goes inside, pulls the trigger on the left, and just nowhere near it. And he's copping a little bit from his teammates, in particular Luke Sherburn, who says, "Mate, I was open, I was 8 yards out, and maybe you could have laid it off for me." A player of his goal scoring ability, Nathan Foster, I wouldn't begrudge him taking that shot. That's my 2 bobs worth, but I guess if he puts it in the back of the net, he doesn't cop anything from his teammates, and he's shrugging his shoulders, having a chat to Spedamala, saying, "Well, mate, I had the opportunity. I'm a goal scorer. Let me do my job." But I guess the argument against that theory is that that one landed about 5 metres to the left of the canteen. He's got another chance. No doubt will screw it up this time. He does. And geez, it's a sloppy attempt at a clearance from Anderson. Walker's going to have to be quick. He is. And guess who's going to be there again for Dandenong? Mixepi. Sorry, just bearing down, but Just keep your shape is the message from Peter Zoyce to the Oakleigh players. Hold the line. It's a line that's been tested once or twice in the last couple of minutes. A little bit of contact there. Let go. Foster. Sees Casper Anderson. He had the sit, but might have lost it in the light. And then Nathan Foster wins the free kick. And this is in a dangerous posse right now for the Dandenong Thunder. It'll be taken 25 odd yards out. It's got the natives for Dandenong Thunder a little excited as we enter the 85th minute of the game. Recipe will take it. It's a three-man wall, and there's a bit of push and shove going on between Casper Anderson and Luke Sherburn. I can tell you that much. Brand flies as he has all night. This time he's had to come from 3 deep. Probably just got into the back of the odd Oakleigh player there. Around 4 minutes to play of regulation time here at George Andrews Reserve. It is the major semi-final in the Victorian Premier League, starting to stretch the Oakleigh defence, or more accurately, get in behind it. Honos via Zodic was trying to do the same for Oakleigh there. Marler. Festerson, where will the ball come out? Nearly onto the top of a fully decked out Commodore here. Not sure the owner of that little puppy would have enjoyed the ball laying a metre or two to its left. As it is, it's disaster averted for one fan, and Rick Seppi. To be fair to him, he hasn't got a lot of movement in front of him. Sherburn eventually got to the front. Here's Alvin. Brand down the line, and Sherburn. Flag goes up, and he's given the old no to the assistant referee. Got to say, as soon as that ball went through, and I think I'm right in saying it was Shredder Marler that let it fly over the top. You're always half expecting that flag to come up, and sure enough, it did. Battle there, Diaco wants a free kick, not forthcoming. He's been working tirelessly tonight as Ricky Diaco, to no avail so far. Frankie Lagiana and Goran Zoric have been the substitutions so far from the Cannons. Ramazan Tassenchoglu and Jesse Krenchevic are the other options before the Oakleigh coaching staff. And still a couple of subs up Chris Taylor's sleeves as well. And clearly, they've made the decision, if we've got it this far, we're going to keep those up our sleeves a little bit further for extra time. So both coaching staffs. Keeping in mind, of course, too, that Dandenong Thunder were forced to make that sub with Matthew Theodore before half-time. So, Chris Taylor just pacing the touchlines at the moment. Not short on experience at this level, Chris Taylor. Not his first rodeo by any stretch for the Englishman. Galvin just doing up his shoes. Probably quite happy at this point to soak up the last 90 seconds of regulation time. Suspect we'd have a 2 or 3 minute period of Extra time in front of us. Brand Foster, the flag went up for offside against him, and he can't believe it. Not sure it was, and I guess at the end of the day, it's not really going to matter because Anderson had him covered. Although the turn of speed for Matthew Foster is a pretty special one. So Italiano. Zoric. Can one of these teams pinch a late goal? Remember, folks, a grand final berth is on the line here. It's a big one. The loser will go on to play in the preliminary final. Diaco on the right. Just turned on a thrifty bit, but nothing that's going to interest Stuart Webster too much. It must be said, Lewis Italiano's had to make a couple of saves, but they've been pinpoint right down the barrel. And then Stuart Webster hasn't been asked to do too much. And a cold night here in the southeast of Melbourne. The keepers haven't been asked to do too much. I think it's going to be 3 minutes. It is. 3 minutes of added time. And we're already, in fact, we've just ticked over the 45-minute mark. So 3 minutes now. Nail-biting stuff here at George Andrews Reserve. Winner into the grand final. The loser to fight another day against the winner of Sunday's minor semi-final between Green Gully and Northcote City. Foster fires it at the goal. He had Sherburn flying in the air. Might have been better served. Good to see a little bit of sportsmanship there between Lou Italiano and Luke Sherburn. Those two just exchanging a little high five. Down the line, Zoric. Elvin's there. Zoric got the first touch. Elvin got the next one, the one that mattered. Anderson. See it away. Zoric on for Diaco. He lets it run. He's inside. Lays it off for Festerson. Festerson fires. The follow-up now for Oakleigh. Clash of bodies. Diaco went down. Festerson again. And it's Andrew Mullett who sends it out for the corner. And a 3-on-1 situation goes bigging for the Cannons. Coaching staff can't believe it, but there is still light at the end of the tunnel here for the Cannons. A corner. Nearly 2 minutes of our 3 minutes of added time played. Drakos to take it. Anderson's looming large. Walker was there. Could be another chance in the box for Oakleigh. Ball flies. Who's there at the back? And it drifts over. Oakleigh want a corner. Do they get it? They do. So Drakos will have another crack with about 45 seconds of added time to come. Oakleigh sending everything forward here. Anderson was at the front and geez, you thought Anderson might have just had a crack at getting his head on that one. He was unmarked at the front. Not in the best position to be. I'll grant him that, but well, that might just condemn us, folks, to an extra half an hour of Friday night VPL Finals football. Extra half hour of Finals football, Johnny. And there it is. So, at the end of our regulation 90 minutes here in the major semi-final between Dandenong Thunder and the Oakleigh Cannons, we're 0-0. We're going to take a very short breather, folks, and come back and take you through. Don't go anywhere. We've got half an hour, 15 minutes each way, and then we may well see penalties decide who's first into the VPL Grand Final. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a minute's time. So we've just had a chance to get inside, have a slight warm-up. It's Mark Van Aken with you for another half hour, or maybe more, here in the VPL Major Semi-Final. Chris Taylor and Peter Zoyce having a yarn to their respective troops here. Probably a double-edged sword this break. The players be enjoying the time off, but it is an icy one here in Melbourne. They wouldn't want to slow down too much. Don't want that lactic to build up. If you're joining us on VPL Live, we've got a nail-biter on our hands. Locked at 0-0. Same result we had in round 20 at this very venue between these sides. Despite the potency of this Dandenong Thunder team that won the minor premiership by nearly 3 games, 8 points clear on top from the Oakleigh Cannons. That means very little when we get into the business end of the season that we're in right now. Just a couple of Thunder players, including Luke Sherburn, to get to his feet. 17 goals so far in 2012. What would he do for an 18th tonight? Been close on a couple of occasions. Just having a good old tactical chat now with Andrew Mullett. Healthy crowd in. The majority. In shot for you, I would suspect at the moment. I'll just have a glimpse down the barrel. Yeah, you can see it. There we go. The main grandstand and a little area up here. Our commentary position. Great vantage point. Right on top of the action. And David Manuka covering the game tonight for Leader Newspapers. Just offers me a couple of chips, which very much appreciated, it must be said. Long night at the office here. Oakleigh, can they go back to their second consecutive grand final? And I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying it'll be only their second grand final in history. I want to say Ricky Diaco has been tireless tonight for the Oakleigh Cannons. Only had a cameo role last week in the qualifying final. And at Kingston Heath, 2-0 win against Green Gully. More of a starring role tonight. If he bangs home a goal, it'll certainly be that. And it's just ready to get underway, and we are. So 15 minutes each way. Nathan Foster looking to get off to a sprightly start for the Thunder. Diaco and Mullett. And just giving it up there was Ross Thompson. Zoric. So Oakleigh attacking with the advantage of the win for the first half of this tackling. Well, Zoric invited the contact from Ross Thompson, but Ross Thompson kind of was happy enough to let him run into the wall, and Dandenong don't like it. Now, this is in a pretty dangerous spot of the park, it's got to be said, for the Cannons. And you've got to be careful. This wind is blowing towards their goal, but across. You can actually see the way it's flapping on the back of Ricky Diaco there. So you've got to balance. Looking to lay it up. You just about be excused for going for glory at this point. What will it be? 25 yards, Diaco. Didn't get the purchase on it that he would have liked. This will be a Dandenong throw, and Big Ricky not happy with himself at all. Familiar sight for us over the last hour, right in front of our commentary position. It's Recepi down the line. Walker had Mother upon him. Now Walker, they say he handballed it. Lunge from coming. And sensing Rasmus Festerson being down upon him there. Andrew Mullett goes all the way back to Webster. Foster went too early. Marla. Drakos wearing Juardi like a cheap suit. Hits the free kick and then he boots the ball. Does Iqbal Juardi. Thompson takes it. Backs up now, Thompson. Thompson went inside, in fact. Eventually went inside anyway into the 18-yard box. That attack repelled. Another one looming. Kearney's there. Squares it up. It's not actually as bad as it looks. Sherburn just lost it in the flight. Honos just overruns it. Marler again. Zoric does well. Craig Alvin saying give him an option, folks. There are some tired boys out there, no doubt. These gusts of wind just getting stronger and stronger in Oakleigh's favour. And that throw in just runs. Runs over for Italiano. He too kind of just has a shrug of the shoulders, asking for a bit of movement from his Oakleigh comrades. Brand will let this up. Didn't quite place it down as well as he would have liked though. Walker, he'll get another crack at it here, Brand. Chests down. Anderson had his hands all over Sherburn there. And Drakos, he's just starting to get a bit frustrated. In fact, I reckon he's seen enough, Ali Drakos, and he signals to the bench, and Ramazan Tefson-Choglu is the one. This one floats in. Sherburne's there, gets ahead, but doesn't control it with any authority, and it's going to be Ramazan Tefson-Choglu who will be replacing Ari Drakos. The advantage of being in this beautiful commentary position right above the action and right above the Oakleigh bench. We can say Ari Drakos, he'll call it a night. That last bit of play there. So the veteran, 5 minutes ticks over in our first period of extra time. And it's Ramazan Tefson-Choglu who's the third substitute for the Cannons. So Chris Taylor, he's still got a few options on his bench. Al Mazodsky and Chochari. Runs over the top for Cumming. To Sherburne. Oh, that was contact. Heavy contact. Yellow card shown to James Cumming, and it's, I can only assume, just outside the 18-yard box, right on the borderline. James Cumming is shown red. Not red. Take that back. Shown yellow. Don't panic, Oakleigh. Not that bad. And just about to tick over the 6 minute. Massive chance now for the Dandenong Thunder with a set piece right on the 18-yard line. Apologies again for sniffles, folks. We're out in the elements here. It gives us a great vantage point. But it does get the nose running. So Luke Sherburne, the league's #1 marksman, resides over the ball. Can he breach Luis Italiano's goal? It's on target! Well, not quite. Geez, it was hit with some vigour. Just curled it around. But wide of the mark, and Oakleigh live to fight on. Nearly halfway through our first half of extra time. A date with destiny. Both of these sides have featured on that last day in September, or in fact the one day in October it's going to be this year. In recent seasons, had their share of heartbreak. You can say that one of these teams will, well actually I can't say that, I was about to say that one of these teams will definitely be bringing home the trophy, but the loser of tonight's game has got to get through that preliminary final next week. Foster taking a eternity with it with Sherburn, eventually lays off again to Foster. And that sticky area of the pitch was Thompson. Now Mitchinson. Just happy to send it out, reset the clock, and another chance here for the Thunder. Two balls on the pitch now. Short. The clock ticking over 20 past 10 here in Melbourne. 8 minutes 40. We're down. First half, the chance go up from the Dandy faithful. Doing well there, Rasmus Vesterson. He might get on the end of this, will he? No, Alvin's there. Shoots it out. Another chance here for Oakleigh. Their first in the last couple of minutes. What will they do with it? They've got Zurich right in the middle. Safe to say they're going to go short here. Honos doubles over it. Back down the line. Wins another throw. Diarco. Touch was too heavy, and there were a swag of Dandenong shirts there. Sherburn accused of not being in the action too much early in the game. He's certainly been omnipresent towards the end of this clash, and certainly in this period of extra time. He's been everywhere as Luke Sherburn. Is that Walker or Cummings? It's actually Luke Walker. Just a lazy tackle. We can forgive him one of those this far into the night. That one was a bit, that touch was a bit better from Walker. Kearney a bit too casual on the ball. Walker again. Ross Thompson is tracking him. And Tassin Choglu wins the free kick there. Made the most of it, did Rammer. And he's had plenty of time in a blue and white shirt of a different variety at South Melbourne, and even a little bit of time at the Melbourne Victory, Ramazan. A skipper for quite a few years down at South Melbourne. Now with the old enemy, the Oakleigh Cannons. That one was just too high for Diarco. Gives the thumbs up. Right idea. Not quite the right execution, Webster. Getting a little bit cute with the 18 yard. Just a little bit over inside the D there. So still moving around. Honos tried to backheel that for Zorich. Anderson. Seppi got through a mountain of work tonight as the Dandenong captain. Here he is again. Alvin goes route one. Flag goes up. Ref says don't worry about it. Lou Italiano's looked after the pill anyway. Goes long, and that won't warm the heart. Peter Zoyce, that one. Frankie Lagana, well-timed tackle, wins the ball back. Not so much from Honos, who just left it there for Thompson, his opponent. And a battle there from Nathan Foster. What will the referee make of that? He actually comes up with a free kick going the way of Dandenong Thunder. Got to say, from this angle, it looked like Foster was the aggressor, but to be fair, it's right on the other side of the pitch from us. So judging from the referee and the crowd, the right decision was made. Rarely are they in tune with each other, but they are on this occasion. This one floated in. Sherman's alone in the middle, but can't get the timing right. And he's might have just got himself a little bit of a cramp for his troubles there in the calf. And of course, my instinct is to have a peek down at Chris Taylor and see what the reaction is. He's not the most animated figure on the bench. Here's Chris Taylor. Talked about playing cards close to chest. I wouldn't want to get in a poker game with Chris Taylor. Let's put it that way. Honos mistimes it, but it almost comes off. Alvin can clean up. Spent time with Chris Taylor over at the Knights. I think he'd be right in saying they were there together. He's brought him from Melbourne's west to Melbourne's deep southeast. Lagana to the side, and there's just a hint of rain coming through now. So, getting not quite 4 seasons in one day here in Melbourne, we're just getting 1 or 2, and they are strong. Mitchinson on for Lagana. He's lost it. Kearney. Another chance for Oakleigh through Festerson. Lays it off at Diaco, goes back in the middle, and it's in the back of the net. And Diaco's going to claim it. I just wonder if Goran Zoric even got to it, but Ricky Diaco, we talked about him being tireless tonight. And it was innocuous enough. And that's enough, I think, for one Dandenong fan. They're already going home, and tighten up is the call from the Oakleigh bench. We're just about on 15 minutes in extra time. Don't think we'll see too much time added. And it's Oakleigh 1, Dandenong 0. And that will no doubt see Dandenong Thunder. Well, they've attacked and attacked and attacked so far tonight, have the Thunder. We're into time. Oakleigh protesting with the 4th official that the whistle should be blown. It's play on and a chance. Sherman from the back. Thompson! And he's fired it straight down Lou Italiano's. And he's done very, very well, has the Oakleigh keeper, to get his mitts on that one. He sends it over for another corner. We have now gone a minute over the line. Recepi. The back is Brand. Gets his head to it. Still in play. And that will be half-time and extra time. And it sees the Cannons leading 1-0. Courtesy of a hit on from big Ricky Diaco. And the players want to have a half-time chat here, and the referee isn't having any of it. Saying, boys, get in position. We're going again. Not sure how much success he's having with that at this stage, mind you, but I think, my experience, we are due to get straight underway. A few players getting rub-downs out there, including Ricky Diaco. So, regardless of whether they're in front. Now, the one thing you would say in Dandenong's favour is that Oakleigh were attacking the goals to our left, and that has 2 distinct advantages. One's the wind, which has picked up to almost a gale in the last 15-20 minutes. And the pitch on the left-hand side of your screen is in far better nick. We've had plenty of rain, and although they tried to sweep off as much of that surface water as they could at half-time, it must be said that the lion's share of it sits to the right. So it is now Dandenong who are attacking the far friendlier goal. That said, the wind is that strong, folks, that although it's of course an advantage, you've just got to use it the right way, because if you're trying to float them balls in, if you're trying to get to the byline and send it down, well, you might well overhit it. Here's the Arco. Bit of a note behind us. Nearly got him. Mitchinson gets the head to it. Hasn't got the direction on it that he'd like. It's getting pretty wild, let me tell you. Wild and windy. And you probably don't know me to tell you, you can see now Lou Italiano, his kick will tell you, although that one doesn't get held up too badly at all. This will be Ramazan Chogler to take the throw. Down the line, just got held up. Diaco wanted it. Alvin, quick throw in for Brand. Goes long. Did well to Sherman to get it down, and now Kearney at the byline. Foster, still Foster, saved on the line for the Oakleigh Cannons by, I think it was Mitchinson. Nervous few seconds, it's like time stood still. You were waiting for a Dandy player to pounce on it. And it was James Mitchinson saving the day for the Oakleigh side. Festerson knew the contact was going to come quite cleverly, waited for it to come. And now it'll be James Cumming, who understandably will be in zero hurry to take this kick. The brief for the Cannons right now is a simple one. Hold on to dear life to this 1-goal lead. If they do that, they'll be heading to AAMI Park for their second grand final in 12 months. I've got to say, I've been deserted out here on their porch by all and sundry. Craig Albin. Just me and Johnny on the camera, braving the elements. Donald Sutherland, David Manuka, very soft inside there, boys. Anyway, we play on. Festerson just cops a little bit of mustard on that one from Luke Sherman. He's a fiery customer. And we're going to see the substitution now. So it's Andrew Mullett. He's taking a seat. And Sean McElroy making his way on. So Chris Taylor has waited till, just trying to get the time for you here, roughly the 108th, 109th minute to make his second sub. He made his first one in the 43rd. So an hour between drinks. And they'll no doubt benefit from a fresh pair of legs out there. There he is. Big Sean McElroy. Diaco. A part of the field you probably wouldn't expect to see him normally. Diaco stays down. Looks a bit ginger. Ross Thompson pulls the trigger, but lands it 25 or 20 metres at least away from where he'd like it. So Lou Italiano has made a couple of decent saves, none better than the one he made right at the death of the first half of extra time. Shot right down the barrel. Did well to get it over the top. He did concede the corner. But you've to give him that. So Ramazan Tasanchoglu. If it ain't nailed down here tonight, folks, it might be leaving us. The corner posts, they're getting a workout. Kearney, he just leaves it. Ref says get on with it, guys. Eventually it's Bran. Tasanchoglu, a clever little push into McElroy's back. Little nudge. Bran again. Down the line, he looked for McElroy. Tasanchoglu is being tracked by Kearney. That strong wind holds that one up. Diaco battles with Jawadi. Elvin's minding the nest for the Thunder, as is Recipe. Marla. Honos just didn't seem to want to get there. And now there's a chance for Oakleigh, a 2-on-1. Not for long though. Well timed, Craig Alvin. Foster. Back for Bran. Bran again, he's going to have to do it himself here. Not too many bodies moving for him. Squared up, Kearney. Inside. Looks for Sherman. Half a chance now, Elvin. Elvin at the byline in the middle, and Jade's coming soon enough. He says send it out for a corner. It's going to be the skipper, Recipe, to take the corner. And everyone except Marla is committed forward here. Plenty of folks from the grandstand have made their way behind the goal to cheer on the lads. It zooms in. They've got numbers at the back. Brand is one of them. And it's very nearly gone in. And Brian Brand, for the upteenth time tonight, has caused some headaches for the Oakleigh come corner time. And that one was just inches away to the left of Luis Italiano's goal. Recipe sprints to the other side of the pitch. He'll have a crack from the right. It's down. Sherban claims another corner. He gets it. And we get a momentary reprieve from this gale force wind. And again, bodies will fly. It was Brown, I sense. Just got a touch to that one. No, it wasn't Brown, because we've got another corner. So an Oakleigh defender getting their toe to that one. It's that time where we'll take a quick glance at the time. Nearly 10 minutes played in the second period of extra time. And again, it just skids through, unabated. Sherban inside. Is it going to catch? The wind just grabbed it at the last second. But cool as a cucumber was Luis Italiano. Although he got very close to that 18-yard line again. Thompson. Foster. Oakleigh bench says he's offside. No flag coming. Foster turns, shoots, and he finds the back of the net. He's threatened tonight, time and time again. That is goal number 12 for season 2012 for Nathan Foster. And just when you thought Oakleigh were looking good to take this one out, in the 10th minute of a second period of extra time, Nathan Foster, a brilliant solo effort. Some tired Oakleigh defence. They have been steadfast tonight have the Cannons, but they gave Nathan Foster what they haven't given for much of the opening 120 minutes of this game, and that's space. They gave him too much of it, and he gobbled it up and put it right in the far corner of Lewis Italiano's net. He wouldn't have known too much about that, would Italiano? The Oakleigh coaching staff, I suspect, are starting to, given they've used all their subs, starting to have a think about who might take penalties. Of course, there's plenty of water to go under the bridge first. But we know, and who wouldn't be at this point of the game. Onos, down the line, as he likes to do. Just bring it back. He'll win a corner. The Cannons, they've got Choglu and also Mitchinson waiting back. Other than that, the tall timber of Walker and Anderson is committed to this. Up they fly. Ball on the deck. Alvin again sees it out of harm's way. For the time being anyway, Mitchinson floats it well over the top. There's a whistle. It goes Dandenong's way. It's Frankie Lagana, who is the Oakleigh player, just floating in the box. 1 goal apiece. Stories at the back here are being written and rewritten for Donald Sutherland with the M Football crew. Also, of course, got the FFV reports on footballfedvic.com.au. You can read about all the action a little later this evening. Tapson Choglu. Trying to shield this mic for you folks as best I can. Rama again. On your toes is what Craig Elvin is asking of Brian Brand in relation to Festerson. So we've only got a few seconds left to run in this second period. We had a minute and a half almost of extra time for that first period of extra time. What will we have here? The positive that can be gleaned for both these sides if they do go to penalties. This is what finals football's all about. It becomes essentially a mini cup competition. And although there will be a loser tonight, of course, it's all valuable experience that you might pull out of your back pocket in a fortnight's time. Just collected there was Frankie Lagana. So one last chance, you would think, for the Cannons to end this before we get to penalties. It's going to be Diaco to reside over it. And yet, it's Sherburn who stays out of it for Dandenong. And Mitchinson and Tapson Choglu holding back. And even Festerson is not quick to this. And he's taken his time to line this up. There'll be a one-man wall. So, last roll of dice time for the Cannons. Well, we suspect anyway. Diaco floats, there's numbers at the back, still alive. Kearney swings and misses. Swings again. What can Sherburn do? Mitchinson's all over him. He's very forceful on Mitchinson then. And what have we got here? Handball, so some interesting stuff. And outside of the technical area, some coaching staff from Oakleigh, and they're going to be talked to here by the referee. So, as you'd expect, as we get into the 2-hour mark of this game, tempers flaring from all angles. And got to say, I at least share the confusion of the Oakleigh coaching staff in relation to this free kick. A little bit bizarre in the way it was awarded. This one floats and floats, cracks onto the wind, and that will be that. We're locked at 1 goal apiece in extra time. And that means, folks, we're going to the good old penalty shootout. And would you believe it, these sides have met 3 times in season 2012. A 1-1 draw down at Jack Edwards Reserve. We had 0-0 at this very venue a month ago, and we've had 1-1 again tonight. So in 300 minutes, which, if I'm doing my maths correctly, is 5 hours of football. 5 hours of football, and these sides have not been separated. Hasn't been, I guess, a night of extreme razzle-dazzle stuff by any stretch. But what we can tell you, if you like your games, if you're a traditionalist and you like your football nice and tight, well, it's these guys who'll supply it to you. Just drawing myself up, folks. My own little scoreboard here with our green and red boxes. We're just hoping we've got enough time on the old internet to get you through this penalty shootout. Do I get the thumbs up inside? Not sure I do. But we're going to do our best to stick with you to the end here. Teams trying to understandably give each other the pep talk. So Ricky Diaco struck first for the Oakleigh Cannons. And then Nathan Foster. I'm not quite sure, John. We'll find out briefly. But Nathan Foster was the one who struck a beautiful goal. Diaco has scored some crackers in his time. And looks like the the refereeing staff have chosen the far end of the ground to take the penalties. Which has not excited the home fans too much. So I'm almost certain to say we're going to be going to the left of screen. We're about a metre inside the left-hand side, so it probably favours us ever so slightly. The fans, they're frustrated. They want to know which end we're going to. And going back to Diaco, he scored some crackers in his time. That one tonight was a bit of a knock-in. You take him any way you get him. And he toiled ever so hard tonight, did Ricky Diaco. Just ran and ran and ran. So, see who it is that actually takes the penalties out on the pitch at the moment. Is Lou Italiano, James Cumming, Casper Anderson, Ricky Diaco, Luke Walker, James Mitchens, Rasmus Vesterson, Lambros Honos, Frankie Lagana, Goran Zoric. They're the ones who are eligible for the Cannons. And for Dandenong Thunder, Stewie Webster, Brian Brand, Liam Kearney, Iqbal Jawadi, Shpeta Marla, Shane Rashipi, Craig Albin, Nathan Foster, the goal scorer, and Luke Sherbo, as well as Ross Thompson and Sean Mack. So, judging by the weight of security down the left of screen, we are definitely heading down that way. And the coaching staff just getting their lists prepared. I certainly oversaw Peter Zoyce getting his list together with a couple of minutes to go in extra time. It looks like Chris Taylor has seen enough. He's happy to retreat back to the bench. He's done all his work. It's up to the lads now. And it's just, no matter how many times we see it, it's always a nerve-wracking affair. Just so heavily weighted, you in the favour of the person taking the spot kick. But how that favour sometimes plays on the minds of the players, and that advantage mentally quickly becomes a disadvantage. So we've got the green and the red texture ready to go up here, folks. Mark Fankin with you. Our major semi-final. We've played out 120 minutes plus injury time. So probably near enough to an hour and a half, or more than an hour and a half, I should say, over 2 hours of football tonight. And it's come down to this. And it's going to be Dandenong taking the first shot on goal, or the first pen. And it's going to come via Ross Thompson. Thompson from the spot. He's getting plenty of time to think about it. The ref's just giving the keepers the requisite pep talk. Keep on your line, boys. Not always adhered to, it must be said. Of course, has his assistants to keep an eye on that sort of caper. Ross Thompson made his way on the park in the dying moments of the first half. Can he bring this one to life for the partisan Dandenong crowd behind the goals? He can. Dandenong strike first. Ricky Diaco. Well, he's already scored one time. Copping a bit of a spray from the locals. Diaco from the spot. To square it up. It's there. Stewie Webster, he went right. I went to his right, I should say. Diaco went to his right, and that equals 1-1 in our penalty shootout. So still, we're no closer to learning who were the first into the VPL final in season 2012. Next up to the spot is Brian Brand. The big defender went closer scoring with his head tonight. And he scores a pen with his boot. And that will send up James Cumming for the Cannons. Over the bar is what the Thunder faithful are streaming out to our right. Another defender sent to do what the forwards like to do, which is bury it in the back of the net. Lou Italiano being asked to get back on the line. Now Cumming. Webster threw himself, but went the wrong way. And yeah, as is being pointed out so far, the keepers have gone one way, the spot kicks have gone another. As Liam Kearney works his way up to take the third kick with 2 apiece so far. So a big night at the office, Liam Kearney. Went close to scoring on a couple of occasions. He's put it wide. And Lou Italiano was going that way. He might well have had it covered regardless. Either way, the first chink in the armour for Dandenong Thunder of this penalty shootout comes via Liam Kearney. And big Casper Anderson. It's funny how in these shootouts, how often it's the defenders who are asked to get up and take the kicks. So Anderson can give Oakleigh an advantage here, and he does. 3-2. So Dandenong Thunder have someone who knows a thing or two about finding the back of the net now, Luke Sherburn. The Sherbanator to keep Dandy in the hunt in this one. Right down the middle. Sherburn strikes and keeps the Thunder hanging on. Rasmus Festerson is the next up for Cannons. Nervous moments here at Andrews Reserve in South Dandenong. Festerson to put Oakleigh ahead 4-3 in this penalty shootout. He went high, he hit the top of the net, and Stu Webster again lets out a roar. So Festerson putting Oakleigh on the brink here. And Shane Usepi, the skipper, has done a ton of work tonight to keep Dandy in the hunt. He does. So this one to put Oakleigh in to the grand final, October 14, AAMI Park. Their second grand final in the space of 12 months. It's Lambros Onos. We know he's pretty good at the step overs. Is he good from the spot? Onos. Start a step and he gets it in. And Oakleigh are on their way to the Victorian Premier League Grand Final. They win this one 5-4 in the penalty shootout. We were locked at 1 after extra time. And the minor premiers will have to go through Green Gully Cavaliers or Northcote City. They play in the minor semi-final on Sunday. You can tune in on VPL Live for that one. That's Sunday, 3 o'clock at Green Gully Reserve. Of course, the grand final a fortnight away. Dandenong will play the winner of that game on Sunday. You'll see it live with Simon and the crew down at Green Gully. For me, Mark Van Aken, and everyone here at VPL Live, we hope you've had a great edge of the seat night. The goal scorers to take you through. We had Ricky Diaco scoring for the Cannons and Nathan Foster. We'll see you Sunday for more VPL Live action and, of course, the preliminary final next week and then the grand final. Until then, it's a good night.